So this morning I've come out with Frank, just me and Frank, one-to-one. So I've now got the 4 dogs at home. Doesn't mean I take them all out all at the same time, always together. It's really good to split your walks up and to take just one. So because I've got Frank and also Sid that are kind of new and still finding their feet, still a little bit unsure, so a little bit reactive, they get in a heightened state as soon as the leads are fetched out the cupboard. So what I'm doing with that is it's not about teaching them a trick, it's just about conditioning them to slowly know that there's nothing to get wound up about, there's nothing to stress about really, to get excited about. You know, good things, you take them in their stride, it's calm. What dogs are actually looking for is calm. Okay, so there he is. There's my little psycho Frank. So what I'll do is I'll get the leads out of the cupboard and I'll just drop them on the floor. And I won't do anything. I won't speak. I'll just walk about as if, you know, I've not even put the leads on the floor. And the dogs kind of think, oh, okay, they're getting no reaction from me. And very often dogs look at you to see how to react. It's how you react that they will then copy. So I get the leads out, I put them on the floor, and then I completely ignore them and I carry on doing what I would normally be doing. The dogs settle down. I don't talk to the dogs, I don't look at them, I don't tell them to sit, stay, nothing like that. I let them figure it out themselves, and that's the quickest way to calm them down, is basically to ignore them. It's what dogs do with each other. When it's a behaviour that they don't want, as much as they possibly can, they'll ignore it. They'll blank another dog, completely blank him, and that lets the dog know that's not a behaviour I want. And because that dog that's doing the unwanted behaviour gets no reaction back, it basically doesn't give them any fuel, and they wind down. So once the dogs have calmed down, I'll then give one of them the direction. Basically I'll use their name. Because I've got the 4 of them, I will use their name. And the reason I wait until they've calmed down is only when they're calm can they actually take any notice of me sensibly. Once their mind is in that heightened state, they can't actually take direction, can't listen to you, they can't, you know, sort of figure things out calmly. Their head is in that heightened state. So when they're calm, then I'll say the name. The name is the dog that I'm going to be taking out. They know that, the others know it's not them, so nobody gets in a heightened state again. And so this morning is Frank. So I'll come out with Frank. So Frank, I very often say Frank's not for the faint-hearted, and he's not. Okay, he's 11 months old now. And when I first picked Frank up from the Newcastle rescue place, he was an absolute complete live wire. So I'm just making that sound because there's somebody just walking on the path up above. Now what he would likely do is just go running up to say hi, which I don't mind because I know he's not going to do anything, but a lot of people don't like that. Frank, so I'm just giving him those checks. Okay, so his body language, just lowered that little bit. He's watching, but he's not tall, you know, he's not standing tall and proud, and he's looked away, so he's not fixated. Just keep giving him them checks. There we go, he went tall, then you see, that's what I'm checking, that body language. Look at the body language. Frank, just want everything to soften a little bit, and then I know he's taking his mind off it. Hey. Good. And the people only just where that tree is there, that's the path. Okay, so they weren't far away. All right, so that is watching the dog's body language and catching him just before he goes. Once he's gone, you know. But yeah, it's knowing your dog. So there we go. So with Frank, when I picked him up, he was an absolute live wire. He couldn't walk properly on a lead. He just bounced. He jumped up at you. He jumped away from you. He was dragging the person at the end of the lead. And yeah, when he come walking out of the rescue centre, I did think, oh God, what am I doing? And anyway, long story short, it took us very short space of time really for him to settle and walk properly on a lead, and a lot of that is because he took the direction from Roscoe. Roscoe let him know what to do in a calm way, and Roscoe gave him the confidence because he was extremely nervous and reactive, but he was also feisty with it. I mean, he would, you know, fight for survival, fight or flight. Well, Frank will fight, you know. The thing with him from a very, very early stages is the whole pack mentality really kicked in, which is where Roscoe and Rio really helped. There was no issue of him running off and going anywhere, but once he was off lead, getting your hands on him to get the lead back on was a difficult one, because he'd obviously been knocked about. You know, he didn't associate human hands with kindness, so it was difficult to get him to trust your hands to get close to you. That, again, there was no sort of huge trick involved in that. I don't normally use treats, but I did a couple of times, only a couple of times. As I actually put the lead around his neck, I gave him the treat. A couple of times I would crouch down, put my hand out, he'd come to my hand, I'd give him the treat, and I'd walk away. I wouldn't look at him, I wouldn't talk to him. I just gave him the treat, walked away. So he was gradually getting conditioned without any pressure to accept my hand as a good thing. And anyway, that's all done and dusted. There is absolutely no issue now getting him on the lead, so that's cool. When he sees other dogs, he runs fast, he'll run to them, but he won't actually touch them. He won't get in their space, he'll run round. Okay. He is respectful, he understands body language with other dogs, brilliant. So there's really no concerns there. He also understands, although he is a feisty guy and he would fight back if he needed to, at the same time, if he meets a dog that is unfriendly, he'll just back away. He'll just walk away, he's not interested. When I have them all together, Frank can be a bit of a handful, and he plays too rough, all right? So that's something I'm working on. He does play too rough, and we have to calm that down. So I like to bring him on my own, because in a way, away from the other dogs, even though they're a brilliant help, when I have him away from the other dogs, he actually takes more notice of me, and his socialization is better with other dogs because he is respectful. He isn't over the top, and even when they start to run and play with him, he doesn't get too rough with them. So that's what I want to build on with him. I want to build with him that he can play and not get rough, whereas with his own dogs, you know, that he knows in his own pack, he does get too rough. So I'm now working away from the other dogs. You know, Roscoe and Rio, they've done a wonderful job with him. They've got him where I need him to be, but now I'm taking him away from them, and I'm getting him to think, take my direction, and calm down. So we've been out for a run this morning, and you probably gather I'm just at my old gaff where I used to live, and we're just sat down here. So I've sat down here because it's good to sit. Again, I don't do tricks. So when I sit down, I don't tell the dog to sit down, lie down, stay, don't do any of that. I just sit down. It's up to them to have a little mooch around, to trust me that this is a safe place to relax, because naturally dogs wouldn't just sit down in the middle of nowhere. It's got to be a safe place for them to stand still. They keep moving. They're an animal. They keep moving. That's what's safe. So to sit down is to actually build trust. So when you're out on a walk, do sit down, do stop, because it teaches the dog to trust you and to become less reactive to anybody going by and noises, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm just sitting here and I watch where he goes. I'm not going to keep calling him to me. I'm not going to tell him where the boundaries are unless I absolutely have to, okay? So it's not a case of constantly calling him. If I'm constantly talking to him and calling him and checking him, he will gradually ignore me. So I just let him have a little mooch about. What he's doing, he keeps looking back at me. That's all I need. The fact that he keeps looking back at me tells me that he's got his eye on me. Yeah, he's having a little wander, but he's watching what I'm doing. As soon as I get up, which I'm going to do now, I'm not going to talk to him. I'm just going to get up. Let's see what he does. There we go. He comes straight to me. I haven't checked him. I love watching him run. Watch him go, watch him go. Oh, bless you. Little baby. So yeah, and now I'm going to sit down again. Oh. There we go. He's a little confused. He's like, what are you doing, Mum? What are you doing? So I just sit down again. But I've not told him to stay. I've not told him to come. I've not given him any commands as such. It's not that you can't give your dog commands, but I'm building my relationship with him on a pack level, on the dog language level, not on the human level. So anyway, this is my work with Frank today. This is all stuff that everybody can do with their own dogs, and it just builds your relationship. And I do love doing one-to-ones with them. So I love all my boys, I love them all together, but I love being on my own with them, just in the one-to-one. I can really watch his body language, really watch what he's thinking and what he's doing. So there we go, great day. Have a good day, everyone.